All right, for this one, we got a factor. You guys listen and learn. So to factor, we do basically the same thing, but in the reverse order. We're gonna do like a guess and check. So I know that this first term usually ends up in this box, and I know this last term ends up in this box. So now to get 3n squared, because 3 is a prime number, really it's probably going to be 3n times 1n, right? Now 2 is a prime number too, so that means I have 1 and 2 are factors of 2. So I have to decide where I put the 1. In other words, do I put the 1 here, or do I put the 1 here, and then I have to put the 2 in the other spot. To make matters a little more complicated, one of them will have to be negative. That's the only way I can get a negative 2. In other words, it'll either have to be negative 1 times 2 or negative 2 times a positive 1. But lastly, what helps me to decide that is that this number, the middle number, is the sum of this term plus this term. So I think that if I put a positive 2 here, positive 2 times 3n would give me 6n. Then this would have to be a negative 1 here. Negative 1 times 1n would be a negative 1n. 6n minus 1n does in fact equal my positive 5n. Negative 1 times positive 2 gives me the negative 2, and so it works out. So then the factor is just this is equal to 3n minus 1 times n plus 2. Okay? Does that make sense? And that's it. That's all we got to do. Now, you might guess wrong. That's why it's called guess and check. What would happen if I put the 2 here and I put the 1 here? Well, it wouldn't add up to 5, and then I'd have to flip them.
It doesn't. Why is there a 6?
Was there a 6?
Yeah.
What's 3n times 2?
Exactly, but why is there a 5 there and a 6 in the bottom?
Well, oh, okay. So, all right. That's a good question. So if I add this up, I got 3n squared minus 1n plus 6n, because that's a positive 6n, right?
Okay.
And then minus 2. Well, what do these add up to? Positive 5n.
So would that have to be on our work?
You mean this extra step here?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't hurt to do it. I'm not going to penalize you. If you have this work in the box, I'm okay with that. Some kids will be like, oh, this plus this has to add up to this, and that's fine. But some would want to write it out just to double check. You should always double check it. But I'm not going to penalize you if you don't write it down. But some kids will need to write it down to make sure that they did the math right. I'm one of those people. I'm a math teacher. If anybody in this room could do the math in their head, it's me, but I like to write it down. I need to see it to make sure. And then when I write it down, I realize sometimes what I'm thinking in my head was wrong. So I would write it down. Because sometimes I make mistakes in my head.